Wack100 proves every time that he hosts that Clubhouse show, right? Every time that Wack100 speaks, right? Every time he's on a podcast, right? Every time he's interacting with somebody in public, he's proving that he is indeed 100% whack. The internet has dumbed the general public down in ways that are just horrific. I mean, this guy, for his cosign, right? His cosign to tell other people that that back paperwork had nothing to do with it, right? He decided to get two cops, right? To cosign on the fact that he's not a cop.
So we got Reggie Wright up top right. Reg, come off your mic, bro.
All right.
We got Reggie Wright, top right. Reggie Wright contacted Greg Kading. Greg Kading was the lead investigator. I'm probably saying it wrong. He'll tell you more on that case. To where with Greg, tell him who you are.
That's funny. So yeah, I was a cop in LA. I ended up working on Tupac and Biggie's investigations back in the 2000s, and then I left and wrote a book about it.
So let me fill you in on this video. This is footage of a Tupac documentary that Tupac's former bodyguard Frank Alexander and Kevin Hackey were premiering. Now Greg Kading shows up to the premiere in the presence of Tupac's estate and everything, not aware that a large portion of the audience members present were aware that Kevin Hackey was brought into Death Row Records by Reggie Wright, and that they both worked as cops for the Compton School District or some shit, right? And so Reggie Wright had hired Kevin Hackey to work for him as a bodyguard at Death Row Records, where he mainly guarded Tupac, and allegedly, unbeknownst to Reggie Wright at the time, Hackey was working undercover for the FBI, assigned to investigate Death Row Records for RICO Act violations. Now, most of the people in the audience are already well aware of Kevin Hackey's association to the FBI, and Greg Kading shows up not knowing that the audience already knows this, right? Greg Kading assured the undercover cop who was posing as a bodyguard while working for Death Row Records that he was aware of, quote, all that he was an undercover, but didn't want to, quote, front him off to the audience. It's obvious, like any cop would, Greg Kading is going to protect any and all confidential informants, so why would he ever reveal if Wack100 had ever or was actively posing as an undercover cop and under a long-term assignment to tear down the hip-hop industry from the inside out? COINTEL Pro infiltration status like the government always has and always will do. So then he brings Reggie Wright on too. The one cop that, from his own admissions, was far from legitimate when working as a cop. A man whose dad, Reggie Wright Sr., was also a Compton police officer, allegedly tied into some shady shit when he was patrolling the streets as well. In fact, there are documentaries and theories that point to both Reggie Wright Jr. and Sr. being involved in the murder of Tupac, but that's for another time. So he picked two cops to co-sign the fact that he is not an undercover cop, a narrative that only he can somehow justify, while the rest of the streets are thinking, what the fuck? Where they do that at? Wack100's Pig House. It's where the cops come to pig out. That's where they do that at.
The federal agencies are not going to just take over a murder investigation unless it's part of a much broader investigation.
I'll interject what you're saying. I was the undercover agent for the FBI for 4 years for Death Row Records in regards to racketeering investigation. The Federal Bureau of Investigations did take over the investigation approximately about 20 minutes after Tupac was shot. My supervisor was Dan McMullen, the FBI Wilshire office. Yeah, the FBI did take over the case.
I was aware of all that. I didn't want to front you off. I was aware of all that. I didn't want to front you off.
Okay.
I was aware of all that. I didn't want to front you off.
Okay.
I was aware of all that. I didn't want to front you off.
Okay.
I was aware of all that. I didn't want to front you off.
Okay.
You gotta be on the internet and say where you're from and what you're about, right? If you don't do that, then you're not a real gangster, right? No! That shit is for the streets, bro. Nobody but people on the streets are supposed to know this. This is a white suburbanite, right? I am a suburbanite to the fullest. I've been in prison a couple times, but a white suburbanite, like this is common sense. The fact that I'm a white suburbanite doesn't mean shit. This is just basic common sense. Why would you admit on the internet what gang you're from? Why would you talk on the internet about the crimes you committed? Why would you let a fat piece of shit named Wack100, who is 100% whack all the time, fucking put words into your mouth? Anybody who goes on Clubhouse, right, to have a debate, you're not going to win. He will literally mute you and then tell you what you think, tell you what you said, tell you what your belief system is. And these guys are falling for it. It's like, oh yeah. No, you don't think that. What the fuck, man? Internet, wake up. Please, internet, wake up, man. Wack100 is the CIA operative. He is an intelligence agent. He's the manager of the game, right? Now, who was managing the game before Wack100? Wasn't his name Jimmy Henchman? And Jimmy Henchman is a, what? Documented informant. He is documented as an informant. This guy was running around doing what Wack100 was doing years ago. And then his intelligence dried up, right? So, okay, now you can't give us any more intel. Now we're going to keep you, right? Boom. Put him in jail. And that same thing's going to happen to Wack100, right? Fucking, so now he's got somebody to take his place, right? And who's that guy? Another guy who came out of nowhere, right? Loose cannon. So, because he's a cop, right? And because he's a fucking, but he knows that, you know, fuck, man. My intelligence, within a year or two, I might not have anything to tell him anymore, you know? So, I gotta fucking, you know, like, but they're literally telling him, look, fucking, because your intelligence is drying up, you need to be replaced. And we got this other guy over here, right? So this guy's going to be your main man, right? So Loose Cannon comes out of nowhere, right? Wack100 is going to get locked up and busted. Loose Cannon's going to fucking replace him. Now you're going to see Loose Cannon managing the game, right? Likely spends half the day interacting with the public and the other half interacting with his handler, right? He's got, yeah, for sure, dude. This guy, how are you guys falling for this? Wack100. His name is Wack100. He's gonna prove every time that he's 100% whack. God, Wack100 is whack. That's his name. He's 100%.